Ringo said impatiently. "I'd like to get back into this game." Davison was a lean man, as skinny as a string bean, letting his muscle come from the 2 Colts he wore holstered on his hips. John was armed himself, always. He, too, carried Colts, 6 shooters, each one double-barreled, providing him with an extra shot per gun. He also carried 2 knives, sheathed at his ankles. It wasn't out of meanness. Out here, it meant survival. "Call," Davison said gruffly. John laid his cards on the table. That was when the swinging doors to the saloon burst open. The sun was setting, painting the sky a deep red hue. Against it, a man was silhouetted in the doorway. Frank Varney had come, just as John had known he would. But the timing was bad. Varney shouldn't have made it in from his office in the hills until nightfall. "Wolf," he said, the single word sounding like a roar. John didn't twitch. He cursed silently and didn't acknowledge the newcomer. He'd had it all planned down to a crossed T. But someone had betrayed him. Varney shouldn't have known he was back, not until Mariah had come. The smoke in the air began to dissipate as most of the crowd scattered hurriedly, like dry leaves caught in a high wind heading out the back door. Even the bartender disappeared. Millie Taylor croaked out one last note, then froze as her accompanist scrambled up the stairs. Only John paid no attention to the other man's arrival. Frank Varney didn't like being ignored. He strode across the room, so accustomed to being a law unto himself that he didn't see the flicker of annoyance in Ringo Murphy's black eyes. Davison looked up nervously, though barely noticing anything as he set his cards down by reflex alone. John had won. "My flush beats your straight," he said, and scooped in the gold dollars piled on the table. "Good, now the rest of us can get back into the game," Ringo Murphy muttered. "The game is over," Frank Varney announced. By then 4 of his henchmen had followed him into the saloon. They were all resting their hands on the guns holstered at their hips. "Deal," John told Grant Percy. Now," Sheriff Percy said, licking his lips nervously. "Seems like Mr. Varney needs to have a word with you first, John Wolf." John looked toward the swinging doors and saw a tumbleweed dance by in the breeze that had suddenly lifted. He looked upward, not at Varney, but at the red sky that was darkening to crimson, deep as a dead man's blood. From the corner of his eye, he judged where Varney's men were standing. Varney planted a fist on the table, leaning down. "You found the vein, didn't you? Well, it's my land, and it's my gold." John stared back at him and smiled slowly. "It's Paiute land," he said calmly. He drew the cards toward himself and started to shuffle. "I brought a claim into Carson City, and I took ownership on behalf of the tribe, of the land that once belonged to the Paiute Nation before you white men came and took it all away. Up in those offices in Carson City, they're not afraid of you, Varney. They believe in something called the law. So now the claim is on Paiute land, my friend." Ringo Murphy let out a snort and stared from one man to the other. "What the hell, are we playing cards here or not?" "Shut your mouth," Varney said. "We're doing business here." "Get the hell out of my sight, Varney," John said. "I told you, that gold is mine." It was amazing, John thought, that Varney didn't die of apoplexy on the spot. He looked as if he was about to explode. "That's my gold. And you're going to tell me where to find it, you red bastard?" "Is anyone going to deal?" Murphy demanded. "I would like to win my money back." "We'll get right back to it," John said to Murphy. He turned back to Varney. "Actually, I'm only half red. My mother was white. She was working in this very saloon when she was captured, and she soon realized she had a better life as a Paiute captive than a white barmaid." "Barmaid? Whore is more like it," Varney spat out. John looked evenly into the other man's eyes. "Whatever she might have done in life to survive, she was a far better person than you. Hell, Varney, you murdering scum, that makes her pretty damn fine in comparison."